All right, let's put on our detective hats. Today, we're diving deep into the world of financial reports. Our mission? To crack the case and find the story that's hiding behind all those numbers. So grab your magnifying glass and let's start the investigation.
You've probably seen one of these before, right? You open it up and, whoa, it's just a wall of data. It can seriously feel like you're trying to read a foreign language. If you've ever felt a little lost or overwhelmed, trust me, you are not alone. But here's the secret. Every single one of these reports is telling a story. Yep, a story about the company's wins, its challenges, its growth. Our job today as financial detectives is to follow the clues, connect the dots, and pull out that simple story. So here's our game plan. We'll start with decoding the data. Then we'll open our case file on a company called 20 Microns. We're going to track their revenue, follow the expenses, and then get to the bottom line, the profit. And finally, we'll pack everything you've learned into your own financial toolkit. Every detective story needs a subject, right? Well, ours is a company called 20 Microns Limited. We're going to be looking at their financial statements to figure out exactly how their business is doing. So what does 20 Microns actually do? Well, the report tells us they're in the micronized minerals business. In simple terms, they basically process these superfine industrial minerals that go into all sorts of things, like paints, plastics, even cosmetics. That's the background for our case.
Okay, first things first. In any investigation, what do? You follow the money. So we're starting right at the top of the report to find our very first clue: revenue. This tells us exactly how much cash is coming in the door. Just think of revenue as the total amount of sales a company makes before any costs are taken out. It's that big number at the very top, sometimes called the top line. It answers the most basic question: is the company selling more stuff? And boom, our first clue appears when we compare the same quarter just 5 years apart. Back in Q2 of 2019, revenue was sitting at about 131 crore. Now fast forward to 2024, and it's jumped all the way up to almost 210 crore. That's a huge leap, and a major clue that this company is growing. You know, seeing the numbers is one thing, but when you visualize it like this in a simple bar chart, the story becomes crystal clear. You don't have to be an expert to see that strong upward line. It tells you instantly that a lot more money is flowing into this company today. That's a really good sign. Okay, so the company is making more money. Fantastic. But a good detective always asks the next question: where is all that money going? It's time to follow our second set of clues: the expenses. This is how we figure out what it actually costs to run the show. Looking at total expenses is fine, but the real detective work, the interesting stuff, is in the breakdown. Where's the bulk of the cash going? Is it raw materials, paying employees, marketing? Figuring this out tells you a ton about the company's priorities. So we did a little digging into a category they call other expenses from the 2019 report. And look what we found. The biggest piece of that pie, a whopping 55%, went to selling and distribution. That tells us that getting their products out the door and to their customers is a major part of their costs. That's a fantastic insight into how their business works. All right, we followed the money coming in and we followed the money going out. Now for the moment of truth, the climax of our investigation. After every single bill is paid, is there anything left? Let's get to the bottom line: profit. So let's jump back to our Q2 2024 numbers. The total income for the quarter was 211.8 crore Indian rupees. That's our starting point. Now, from that big number, we have to subtract all the expenses for that same period. And that total came out to 191.4 crore. This covers everything: materials, salaries, the whole shebang. And here it is, the grand reveal. After everything was said and done, 20 Microns was left with a net profit of 15.3 crore for the quarter. So the big answer is, yes, the company is profitable. This is the ultimate clue in our detective story. But hold on, there's one more clue that investors absolutely love to see. It's called earnings per share, or EPS. This little metric takes that big net profit number and breaks it down to a per share level. It just makes it so much easier to understand and compare the value of the company's stock. For Q2 2024, the EPS for 20 Microns came out to 4.34 rupees. This small number packs a big punch. It tells each shareholder exactly how much of that profit pie their little slice of the company represents. And just like that, you've cracked your first financial case. We followed the clues from the top line all the way to the bottom, and we uncovered the story. So now, let's pack up these new skills into your very own financial detective toolkit.
Here's how you use it. You always start with revenue to ask, is the company growing? Then you follow the expenses to figure out where's the money going. After that, you find the profit to answer the big one. Is the company actually making money? And finally, you check the EPS for that investor's point of view. You can use this simple framework on any report you find.
The thing to remember is this. Behind every number and every chart, there is a story just waiting to be told. It's not about being a math genius. It's about being a good detective and learning how to listen to what the numbers are trying to say.
You now have the fundamental tools to start cracking these financial mysteries all on your own. So the only question left is, what story are you going to uncover next?